Well, it's Monday again, and I'm thinking that this week I will focus on the seats and also the front piece here. While we're doing that, we're of course also going to check that we have good ergonomics here in the cockpit. I think we have that because Ulf is really good at this, and he has a long experience of what inclination of the backrests is good, and also how much depth you need in the cockpit so your knees don't get too high up and all of those details. But it's also good to check it in reality now. So before we glue everything in, we'll just make sure that we have a comfortable way of sitting here in the cockpit. Or if maybe we should just make some smaller adjustments by getting the seats higher up, so we'll get some more headroom down below in the engine compartment, or maybe if we should put it a bit lower so we'll get a taller backrest. And it's the same here with the sole, because here we're going to have that big hatch so we can get stuff in and out of the engine compartment, like if we need to bring the engine out for some reason or bring in a new washer dryer in the future. It's nice to have a big hatch here. And that hatch is not in the drawing right now. And it will remove either depth in the cockpit up here or ceiling height in the engine compartment. Now we just need to decide which is the best way to go. Right now I'm thinking it's best to remove some headroom in the engine compartment, since that is a space where we're hopefully not are spending that much time compared to the cockpit.
We got 8 pumpkins. We're ready for Halloween. I was looking at the weather forecast earlier, and it shows that tomorrow and the next day it's gonna be 6 degrees and 4 degrees Celsius during the night. And that's really cold. Then it's going up again. But I was thinking it's better to harvest more tomatoes, and I'm gonna let them ripe inside. I harvested some beetroots as well, and just tidying up a little bit here in the kitchen garden. It's still growing like crazy. I harvested a lot. I'm gonna show you a lot of kale. This is just a tiny bit of all the parsley we have, and it smells so good. I'm gonna chop this up and put it in the freezer, so we have parsley the whole year.
Yeah, this is not easy, trying to determine if we're happy with all the measurements that we have here. Originally, the seats were a bit too wide, so I have taken them down a bit now. They were 570 millimeters first. And the reason for that is that we specifically told Ulf, our naval architect, that we wanted them that wide because we wanted to be able to sleep on these comfortable. But I think 570 was a bit too much because it made it a bit hard, especially for Malin, to sit properly here without getting the seats too close to the knee on the back side of the leg here. So I've taken them down a bit now, so now it's they are 530, still quite deep seats, but now it works a lot better. So I think we're happy with the width of the seats now. And also the height of the backrest. It's really comfortable to sit here. And you get good support, you're not too low and not too high. It's comfortable to have your arm up here. So my only concern at the moment is that the distance between the ceiling here and this overhang is a bit too small, this gap between my head and the ceiling. For me, for Malin, of course, it's fine. Because maybe you want to sit on a cushion here in the cockpit as well, and that will make that gap even smaller. So the original plan is that the seats are 30 millimeter lower than they are now. I wanted to bring them up a little bit so that we could get more headroom in the engine compartment in this tunnel here. We're going to have the workshop and also the washer dryer. But this is more important, so I think we have to go back to the original height of the seats. And that will make the backrests even taller, so I think that will make them even more comfortable if it's, if you're heeled over a lot, if you have a lot of pressure against them. It's nice to have them even taller. So the only drawback of lowering it down to the original height is that the headroom in here will be slightly affected. I can't stand tall in there, but I think that's fine. It's just the engine compartment. And I can still stand, it's just that I can't stand fully. Hej Malin. Om du kan klättra upp från andra håll så kan du prova se vad du tycker om ryggstödet nu.
Is it more narrow now?
Yeah, it's 500 and I cut off 40 millimeters.
Okay.
And I think it's perfect now. It's wide enough to lay down on, but also I think it will work for you as well to sit.
It makes it so much easier when you can try it out in real life.
Yeah.
To see what it feels like and then make adjustments.
Yeah. No, I mean, all of these measurements are quite small. I mean, we're not deviating a lot from the drawings. It's just that even a small change can make a big difference, especially, ceiling heights like this. The width of the seat is okay now?
Yeah, I didn't really feel a big difference.
No?
I mean, but I mean, it doesn't feel much smaller. It still feels
yeah.
good.
Comfortable sitting?
Yeah, it's
because
comfortable.
this edge will be, of course, will have a quite big radius on it.
And then we'll have cushions, like one big cushion here
Yeah.
that we'll sit on and one for the back. That will be maybe 4 or 5 centimeters tall, and then of course that will be compressed when you sit on it. My knees hurts from standing in a squat for hours. Laminating.
More tabby. You think it will be enough with 550? On the drawing it's 600, but I'm thinking...
This is fine.
Yeah, I think so too. I just forgot that Malin doesn't have a mic on her, so maybe haven't heard anything.
You can only hear me through the mic Johan is wearing. Mistake!
Yes.
Okay, bye-bye. I have to go and pick up Vera.
Hej då.
So now we're sitting here in the cockpit and we have now the benches in place, they're glued in, and this is what it's going to be like.
Yeah, with a sole.
Yeah, the sole is still missing.
Yeah.
The plank that Johan has under his feet is where the sole is going to be. Does it feel good with the height from the sole to the bench?
Yeah, I think so. It's obviously you always have to find a good middle ground, because at the dining table you want the distance from the seat to the sole to be a bit higher. But in a sofa and also in a cockpit where you also want to relax, you want that distance to be a bit smaller. And I think we have found a good middle ground, because most of the time you're not sitting here dining.
No.
So I think, for dining it probably should have been a bit taller from the sole to the seats, but for sitting here I think this is a really good height.
You could always add an extra cushion.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, it's super important with the ergonomics for the cockpit.
Yeah.
On some boats, the cockpits have their backrest very low and tilted a lot backwards, so you can't really lean like this, just sit normal like this. You have to pile up with cushions, otherwise you kind of fall out with the back. And I think this turned out really good, and now you've also lowered the seating area a little bit, which makes the backrest a little bit higher, and that also adds for the security.
The feeling of security.
Yeah, when sitting here in the cockpit.
And especially for the first two seats here, because we'll have this extension of the roof, and also the glass on the sides will extend to roughly around here.
So like the door and the hatch for getting inside the boat, that can also extend to here, right?
Yeah.
If you keep it fully closed, but maybe you just close it until here when you're sailing. And for the door, we're probably going for some kind of foldable door.
Yeah, up until on this side.
Ideally, I would like to have like a garage, so you just push them down and they disappear down here.
Yeah.
But that's not possible, right? Because
It is possible, but not for the full hatch. We could have had like the first section up until here, like the push down type, and then have a piece up here that we will remove. We might go for that, but right now I'm thinking it's easier, since we have an offset entrance. That door, if we fold it in the middle, it's quite easy to stack that against the wall here, and it's not very wide.
And that will be in some type of glass, so you can see through?
Yeah, probably some metal frame, a hinge in the middle, hinge here on the side, and maybe insulated glass, because we're aiming to get insulated glass for the full salon area.
Deck house.
So, yeah, for the deck house, so it would be nice to have that for the door as well. But as always, details like this could change. Maybe we get another idea later on.
I think this is going to be so nice that you can sit like this.
Yeah. So I think that we have managed to get all that we wanted to have from the cockpit. Pretty wide seats, so you can sleep out here. And like Malin said, the feeling of a really safe cockpit with the high backrests here.
Yeah, and the roof
Yeah.
and the window.
Of course, we'll have like a bimini. Not so sure if we're going to have a full cockpit tent, but at least we're going to have that, what do you call that? Like the canvas in the back, like we had on the Naiad. I know a lot of people asked in last week's episode if why we're not having G10 or reinforcement, where we're going to have the winches. And the reason for that is that we are not 100% sure yet where we're going to place the winches. So that's why we decided to wait with that, and later on we will remove the core in those areas where we're going to mount the winches and other deck gear.
Ja, jag tycker det är så bra.
Så en här, en motsvarande då.
Ja.
Så det är ju den linjen där. Så ser det ut där. We're about to order a test piece of the portholes, or the glass for the portholes. And yeah, we're trying to determine what size we want to have on these. The ring here is 300 millimeters, and yeah, there will be a recess on the inside, or like a ring holding the glass on the inside, so the actual glass area will be a bit smaller than the inside here, if we choose to have this size.
So this one now sits in the galley area.
Yeah.
Just above the little seat that we're gonna have on the port side. And then we'll have one in the guest cabin, and then one in our cabin, and then the same on starboard side. So one in Vera's room, one in the galley, and one in our cabin. So it will be 6 round portholes in the hull in total. And then we will also have portholes in the coaming.
Yeah,
which we can
open, yeah.
Which we can open. We haven't decided how many we're gonna have of those, or what size they're gonna have.
Yeah, so we're going to start with just one piece to determine how good the quality is, and also how we're going to mount the glass. This will be insulated glass, so pretty thick. There will be 27 millimeter thick, with hardened glass on the outside and laminated glass on the inside. Most probably we're going to have like a stainless steel ring on the outside and a composite ring or flange on the inside that the glass sits against. So there's quite a lot of work to reinforce this area once we have taken out that big hole.
Which will be
pretty
scary.
nerve-wracking doing this.
So we're gonna laminate then on the inside where you will see the bare wood again.
Yeah, and also removing a bit of the core, so we have solid glass in an area outside of the actual glass. And these will not be the type that you can open. I guess you could have that also in the hull, but in this case I think it's more safe to have the one that you can open up in the coaming, and these will just be...
So there will be 6 round portholes in the hull in total, as we said, and we think that will give some good natural light inside the boat and in the different cabins.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to see the water from it. Oh wow.
Cranes flying south now, leaving the cold.
So light in, but also the possibility to see the water outside.
Yeah, and the surroundings.
Yeah, also from down below. We already can from the salon area, but it's nice to be able to do that from the different cabins as well.
Yeah, so this was just a test template that we have made. So we still have to decide on the exact size, dimension of the glass. And you think this is slightly too big? On the drawing it is a few centimeters smaller, so maybe we'll order what we had on the original drawing and then we'll see.
Yeah, I think so. This is 300, on the drawing it's 275, so somewhere in between. I think we should go for the inner ring here, plus 290, so just a centimeter smaller than that.
But it's gonna look so good with these round portholes.
So the next thing to start working on is the sole in the cockpit and that big hatch that we need to have there, so we can get the main engine installed later on, and also to bring in big stuff like the washer dryer that we're going to have in there. So I've been taking a lot of measurements and transfer that to a few cutting files, all the different parts of the hatch and the sole, and I'm going to start cutting that today. And hopefully we can get this installed during next week. And this hatch will be a pretty simple hatch without any hinges, because 99% of the time it will just be dogged down like a watertight hatch. And once we have this installed, the initial plan was to start working on the stern, the extension of the hull and the transom and the aft deck. But after some discussion with Ulf, our naval architect, he had some things in the design that he wanted to work a little bit more with. And we also had a few ideas that we wanted to refine in the design back here. So instead of continuing with the stern of the boat, we're going to focus on the inside now and the deck house. And in the meantime, Ulf will do those design changes or refinements of the design back here. And we will circle back to this area of the boat later on. Okay, so I have almost all the pieces now for the sole and the hatch. And the way it's going to work is that in the front it will just be a solid sandwich panel next to the companionway going into the boat. And then behind that we will have this pretty massive hatch. And this is just, I don't know what you call it, like a blind. So underneath here there's air, so the water, any water entering the cockpit can drain down on the sides and between the solid piece up here and the hatch, down on the sides, and then the bottom piece will be tilted slightly backwards, so any water coming in will be draining back here to the drains, one on each side here. And these cutouts is just that if you drop anything, you can retrieve it back here, and also so you can clean out any debris clogging the drains. And there will be mesh in these drains, so if you drop anything, it shouldn't just flush out into the ocean. So the edges here will be, there will be like a gap of around 10 millimeters on each side here, so the water can drain along the edges. And underneath here, this piece will be glued together with the top panel just to make that more rigid. And then we'll have a raised lip around the whole perimeter, both on the actual hatch and on the sole. And then on top of that we'll have a rubber gasket that will be compressed. The whole hatch will be clamped down from underneath, holding everything in place and making sure that it's watertight. And as you can imagine, there is going to be quite a lot of work with this before we have it finished and installed on the boat. But I think it's possible to have it in place during next week, or at least that's what I'm hoping for. But this is it for this week's episode, and as always, thanks a lot for watching, and we hope to see you back here next Friday. Take care, bye bye.